Hello, I'm Dr. Jerry Osborne, Assistant Superintendent, Curriculum and Instruction with Hampshire Finette ISD. This afternoon I'll be sitting in with Ms. Marla Gilmore, and we will be discussing the benefits of quality professional development.
All right, I appreciate you meeting with me today. We've had a lot of good conversation in the past about professional development and the district and improving it, and making sure that it's teacher-centered, and we want to make sure you've always made sure that anything that was done can be useful to them, to our teachers, and that they can incorporate into their curriculum. And a main focus is curriculum has become more digitized, that we are working, technology and curriculum are working together. So this meeting is just kind of building that relationship that, it's ed tech, it's instructional tech, technology and instruction are one department now, and not necessarily two separate entities anymore. So I'm looking at the professional development schedule that we have. It looks like in our school calendar that most of our professional development is front-loaded. So we have 7 days that teachers are allowed to work on curriculum, and it's a good time to look at new resources, and it's been great. We've also had some morale things we did with the drums last year, and talked about team bonding, and so that was really neat. And it's also been a good time to talk about lawful responsibility in the classroom, and we've invited, I believe, Mr. Walsh in, and he came and presented the year before. So the days, by front loading, it's definitely, we've taken full advantage of that and given teachers something, kind of refresh them with laws at the beginning, and hey, we're back from summer, let's focus on what the classroom is like. And let's see, so our 7 days, we normally start out by doing basically, that's where most of our team building and increasing morale and all that normally happens on the first day, and then we kind of break off into campus trainings after that. But before we do, a big day that you really put together for us was like breakout session, because I think financially several years ago when the state was struggling, what are we going to do with our professional development? We don't have resources for this. So you kind of headed this up for our district whenever you came and started utilizing. You said, we have some great teachers, we have great test scores, let's learn off of each other. We don't need to pay anybody. We have great teachers and we have great resources. So in doing that, I think that we've worked together, the technology, as instructional technologists, have worked with you, and the first year went really great. We had a lot of positive feedback from the teachers. They loved the variety. They loved that teachers are very busy, and they like the movement, that they like the timeliness of the sessions, that they were 45-minute or 40-minute little sessions. They also appreciated that they could take that, it was something that they could take with them. And then the following year, some feedback, I guess, that we got per se was we had too much variety, perhaps. And so last year we looked at maybe keeping the same time, but maybe offering the sessions all day. And the teachers appreciated that, and we had a lot of positive feedback. And they seemed to like that. They appreciate the choices, but then they also like that they were able to maybe focus on certain areas. So,
well, when you think about professional development and how things used to be when it would come for staff development opportunities, in a lot of places, districts would just decide for the teachers which professional development opportunities they would get, and maybe it was based on the perceived needs of the district by folks at the highest levels of administration, like I said, making the decision for the teachers on, hey, we're going to bring in this guest speaker, and there was usually an expensive fee that went along with that. and it was more of a sit and get situation instead of a make it and take it kind of thing. There wasn't a lot of hands-on opportunities for teachers. My philosophy has always been, and things have evolved in the world of professional development, but that it needs to be a data-driven, student-centered process, okay, based on teacher needs, and so the way that we have designed our August back-to-school staff development sessions, which is a healthy balance of district day and then some campus-based days as well. I mean, obviously there are some mandatory things we have to cover, and you always want to start the year off with your district convocation where you bring everyone back together and usually have one of those team building activities like you mentioned, and then also maybe some other legal, ethical issues. We've had special ed law attorneys come in and give us kind of an update and overview on the latest issues and out there in the world of education. So you have to get those things in. But the bulk of it, the way that we've set it up is, like I said, it's a student-centered, teacher-driven, based on really the creative ideas of teachers. And like you mentioned, we wanted to take advantage of the knowledge, experience, and success that has been a long-time tradition here in our district, and really take advantage of the opportunity that we have to have our teachers work with their colleagues and their peers. And so what you've seen with the schedule for the last 2 years, teachers have had a lot of input on these sessions. And I mean, in some cases, we, like with the curriculum department or myself and you in the technology department, we collaborated, worked together to say, hey, we've upgraded our technology, or we have a new program, or whether we need more training on Eduphoria or any of those tech-based programs. We wanted to provide our teachers with some training and give them time to hopefully get in a smaller group setting, which our instructional technologists have done a great job with, working with those teachers with all of the technology applications. And so, like I said, a lot of it has been tech-based in recent years. But all the sessions that you see that develop, and particularly on the menu session day, revolves around teacher ideas. In some cases, principals hosted some sessions as well. I usually cover a couple on accountability and assessment, and I usually throw something in about effective communication with the school community and things of that.
And the teachers really enjoy seeing from the feedback that we gained, that they enjoy seeing the administrators getting involved. I know that Ms. Jenkins, her session, it was jam-packed. They even extended it last year. And, teachers have said, oh, well, did he teach a session? And, oh, we want to. So they really enjoyed seeing y'all. So I think that was a good addition to the breakout session day, is making sure that not just teachers are doing that, but, the principals got involved with that, and they kind of shared their knowledge too and their expertise, you over assessment, and, every principal kind of seems to come from a different background, so they bring something different to the table.
Yeah, you bring up a great point with that. I know in a long time ago when I was teaching, didn't always see our administrators and I was in a different district, but didn't always see our principals and assistant principals or directors or anyone like that participating in the staff development, much less leading it, and I mean not even present for it. Right. And myself, someone who grew up in the world of administration, is taking over struggling campuses to help them overcome various academic issues. I viewed it as an important part of that, really, like you mentioned, the team building concept of kind of creating a family environment where even as an administrator, I'm going to be a part of the staff development as a participant. Yeah. And I always tried to do that. And then from there, take it a step further and lead some of the staff development instead of always bringing someone in from the Education Service Center, and they do a great job. But if I'm capable of discussing the assessment and accountability issues, then it helps me bond with our staff. And so instead of me just sitting in the back listening to someone else give the speech, I may as well go over the relevant data, that's important to our district. So that's the way I've always viewed it. I think it's very important for principals to be a part of the training as well. And like I said, not just be a participant as someone that is present as a spectator, but to be leading, serving as the instructional leader of their campus. And I think that's very, very important at every level.
Definitely is. And something else, whenever we looked at, the menu session day, which, that's kind of what we're organizing and doing right now in May or April, so that August rolls around and everything's lined out. We had an online classroom last year, and we had pre-made videos so that whenever the teachers walked in, they could choose what lesson that they wanted to review. As far we were new Google Apps for Education district, so there was basic drive lessons, there was advanced drive, there were email. So they really liked that, so they want to see that again as well. Doing, we kind of called it online personalized learning, and so we're going to have some of the same videos for new teachers or for teachers who still need some, and then we plan on making some more videos for that online classroom, because they really, they really enjoyed that. There's no facilitator there. It's just a break. They click through the lessons, and they, it was at their own pace, and so they appreciated that. And
well, when you think about transformational teaching and learning in a classroom environment, regardless of the grade level, it's elementary, intermediate, middle school, high school, the way kids are taught and the way kids learn is different now. And you have to provide a lot of hands-on opportunities for them to learn. You want your students authentically engaged. You want a high level of rigor, and you want it to be relevant to the learning objectives. And a lot of that's based on various state standards, but nevertheless, you want to provide them with that opportunity to be engaged and be a part of the process. And if you think about it, adults are the same way. No one really functions well just sitting and viewing just an average presentation. In some cases, it's appropriate and it's the way to go about it. But in some of these other situations you're describing, where these teachers get involved and they're actually participating in the lesson, it's an online tech-based program. They're able to carry that with them.
And as an instructional technologist, in the EdTech world, the new buzzword is, flipped classrooms, and, where they do it at home, and they do the lessons at home and come to work and, come to school, and they actually do the classwork here, where flipped PD is pretty popular too. And we did that, and they didn't even know. Like, we didn't let them know, hey, we're doing something. We just said, hey, we're going to have this, we'll have this online classroom for you to go into. So, it was just a good opportunity for us to make a flipped online learning environment for our teachers, and hopefully they will see maybe I could do that for my kids, and maybe I could create a video. If I'm learning well this way, then they would as well.
Well, what we've seen year in and year out, and we've done this for a few years now, and this will actually be, I guess, the third year of the menu session. It's inspired other teachers to get involved and to join in and to try to develop and facilitate a session or two. And so you like to see that, and you like to see a mix of your veteran teachers and your rookie teachers as well getting involved with that. And we do want to pull in more, principals, directors, and people in those various support roles, so that we can, just keep this quality staff development going. You mentioned the word kind of front loaded, and that's all based on our school calendar and the way that shapes up. One of the things that we've tried to do, and you and I have talked about this at great length about expanding the staff development throughout the course of the year, and we do that to a certain degree with a couple of early release days, or a series of early release days, and an occasional staff development / bad weather day, and you hope that you have good weather and you don't have to use it as a makeup day. And then we've been able to have another full day of staff development, and that's usually in February. But we've talked about the possibility of adjusting the calendar to where everything is not so front loaded, but more consistent throughout the course of the year. And we're pretty tight on the calendar just due to the way the state sets
The
things up with
state,
testing.
yeah.
And there are some other local events that our district is very involved in, and they build days around that. But in the future, hopefully we can continue to spread those days out to where teachers can kind of have more of that ongoing quality staff development throughout the course of the year, instead of just getting it all at the beginning of the year. And like I mentioned earlier, in the past, districts used to just make the decision for the teachers. We believe in teacher input here. We really value that. But these sessions that we come up with, they're student centered. They are teacher driven. We're kind of building it from the ground floor up, and not just dictating to folks what you need to have your sessions on.
Right.
And so we have a tremendous amount of flexibility. A lot of the diversity that you see in that scheduling with those menu sessions and even staff development, the campus-based days and things like that, that diversity is really based on, it kind of correlates with the creativity of our teachers, and some of the ideas that they come up with, as well as our administrators.
Yeah, I think that they've really done. Their teachers have done an excellent job of coming up with some good ideas and knowing, oh, I know this and my peers know this, but this is a great opportunity to share with, the entire campus, to share with people from other campuses, and that's kind of what I've kind of started looking at was what we could, what sessions can we offer. So. I guess I was going to go over some of that with you.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to talk about, or one session that we wanted to offer, was Google Classroom that day. And I already have some teachers at the high school using Google Classroom. I think there's like 7 or 8 now, which is excellent. And I'm actually in the process of making a video of students and teachers using it. And so I've already started building that for the menu session day. But Google Classroom is basically your online classroom where, they go there to get their assignments. They go there to turn their assignments in. And with the intermediate getting Chromebook cards, I think that would be, a good way they would be able to utilize, with the middle school getting Chromebook cards, with the high school getting Chromebook cards. And even the 3rd grade will all have Chromebooks. So, Google Classroom is simplistic enough and user-friendly enough that, even 3rd grade can use this. So we plan on offering that.
When you think about the technology investments we've made, and we've talked about this a lot, but, the way the state provides resources now, or the funding to allow districts to acquire the resources they need, it's so different than it used to be, where textbooks would get approved, you'd have a list, you would tell the state how many books you need, they would ship you the number of books, and that was what you got. And you could, if through district funds, local funds, supplement with some consumable materials and things of that nature. Well, with us, and particularly with the shift over to the instructional materials allotment process, we have really made a committed effort throughout the district to invest in technology. And you mentioned the Chrome carts, and that's a big plus for us. And so we're not wasting money on just a one use resource, a workbook, or consumable that's you get it for 1 year and you got. We might supplement here and there as needed, but making these investments with the technology, I think, is going to help us to advance into the future a little more rapidly, and get kids to become, where they're really highly proficient with the whole digital learning process.
I saw something the other day that said, kids knowing more than teachers. They know their smartphones, but do they really know instructional, information? And, that's where the teacher specialty comes into play, and that's where I come into play in helping them, incorporate the digital curriculum. And, because, kids are good with Twitter and Snapchat and all, but that's not all part of the learning process,
Yeah, well, the thing with technology is and the thing with curriculum is there's not a one-size-fits-all approach for a diverse student population, pre-K through 12. It's much like a doctor treating a variety of patients. Every patient is not going to be experiencing necessarily the same condition, the same issue or health concern. They're not going to be treated the same way. The diagnosis won't be the same. The prescribed method of treatment, the medicine, won't be the same for every single patient. Well, education now is a lot like that as well. Every student is not going to learn the exact same way as the student sitting next to them. And when you're working with diverse populations of students in today's world, we're talking 21st century learners here. It requires that more personalized, individualized approach. And that's the advantage that technology allows for versus just going, here's your workbook, here's another book.
Differentiated instruction.
That's right. That's where it takes you.
That's definitely what technology can do. And, you can make it, you might have 5 special ed students in your room, but with the curriculum, using it as a tool, you're able to have differentiated instruction, and no one knows that this person is getting this assignment, this person is, and that's what Google Classroom does is you can give different due dates, and none of the other, it's seamless, so you can make differentiated, personalized learning for each student in your room, and nobody has to be aware of that. So
and you bring up a good point with that. Gone are the days where you had a resource room open all day, and then that's just where the special education students got sent when they were, having trouble with a subject or a course or a topic or an assignment. In the world of inclusion, where they're being brought into the regular classroom and being made a part of the regular classroom with the regular student population. I think technology helps support that as well.
Some other questions that we were looking at is we wanted to do screencasting in the classroom. I don't know. I think that with the more technology and devices that are coming into play, the teachers are seeing that we're using videos for instruction. So April plans on teaching that screencasting and video in the classroom. She also will give out resources during that time and give them certain sites that they would be able to go to integrate to use it and how to do that. Then she also wants to do getting the most out of your student computer. So because we do have a lot of devices, but we still have some teachers who have 1 or 2. And how can you get the most? Because we hear a lot of times, well, we just have 1 computer. Well, you can do a lot with that. You can set up a quiz and, every 5 minutes you send a kid over there, and throughout the class period, 20 minutes, every kid can take it, a short little quiz or a survey, that information that you want to find out. So, I think it's just expanding their horizons on, what just 1 can do. So that will be one session that we also want to teach. And then the other session that Morgan plans on teaching is she's going to talk about old school tools and just bring up, Chatterpix, and just we want to really make sure that our teachers have a good understanding of the resources available. I feel like sometimes that the feedback that we've received is, well, y'all tell us, and then maybe it's left,
to interpretation.
Yeah. So we just want to bring back some of the favorite tools that our teachers are currently using right now, and everybody else can have an opportunity. We might have 20 teachers using it, but maybe we have 20 more teachers who want to start using it, like Quizlet. Whenever we offered that, we got so much excellent feedback about that, and actually have teachers using it to pass some certification tests for them. But it's just a great time to bring back, hey, don't forget about these tools. Like, we're moving forward with Google Classroom, and we have screencasting, but hey, don't forget the old school tools, so some resources.
Well, another thing along those lines is there's nothing worse than a district can do than to unload a new program, initiative, a resource on teachers, and just turn it over to them without the proper training. It puts a lot of pressure. It creates a lot of frustration on the part of the teachers. Some are going to pick it up, or some are going to have difficulty with it. And so by building your staff development around the resources that you acquire or the programs or initiatives that you're going to implement. Once again, based on student needs, teacher driven, campus, centered. It adds tremendous value to what you're trying to do. Particularly when you're talking about adult learning, and that's what you're working with here. And this is real similar to situations in the world of higher ed where adult students are using more and more online learning opportunities for their own professional growth, or even obtaining master's or doctoral degrees in many cases. So, in many ways, the needs of adult learners are similar to that of what students in the public school system will have. Technology enables systems to enhance the learning and to really make a big difference in what the adults or students are able to retain and make a real world application with what they've learned.
Right.
That's one of the benefits.
One of the sessions that I want to talk about is extending your professional learning network. Another buzzword, your PLN, and that goes with the days are gone to pull the book out and here's your worksheet and let's write this spelling word. It's more. It's as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, like our students are beginning to learn differently. They're digital natives. They're not digital immigrants like we are. But what I wanted to extend to my teachers is, there are resources out there for you. So let me teach you, Twitter doesn't just have to be for your teenagers and your tweens. It's actually an excellent resource, and it's a way that I've connected with TCA, Dr. Bruce Ellis, and he's thrown out ideas, and I connect with ITSE, and I connect with it's called Safeguards. I just started following them for digital citizenship ideas, and as I'm connecting with the tech world, teachers can do that, and I have a sheet and certain hashtags that you should follow these, and certain people. So I want to give them those ideas because I can give them ideas. Here's how you could increase or implement some instructional strategies into physics, but there's nothing like connecting with a physics teacher, and he has integrated this, and this is what's worked best. So I think that could be beneficial. And we were talking about Google Plus, and whenever we got we got some tablets in for the elementary, and we had an issue. We shot out to Jamie Newworth from Google, who we met at the Region 5 Mobile Mania, and he was like, "Oh, you just need to do this, this, and this." So it's just a really great resource. I just want to extend to them. We don't have to work with just the people at our school or maybe our region center anymore. We live in a world we can connect with anyone, for resources and for knowledge or help to do something. So I just want to let the teachers know, like, yes, I'm here for you, but also it's about take some ownership over your professional development, over your own professional growth. And you don't have to wait for the days that are labeled professional development. This is something that you can do at any time, for professional growth purposes. And Dr. Bruce Ellis actually said, teachers aren't going to be replaced by computers. They're not going to be replaced by robots. Teachers will be replaced by other teachers willing to incorporate willing to incorporate computer use devices into their curriculum. So, but I thought that was kind of interesting that he just blatantly said that. But he did, and I can see where that's true because it goes back to we have digital natives, and it goes back to curriculum's not presented in the same way, and our students learn different, and it's important for our teachers to. We don't want our students to adjust to us. We need to adjust to our student needs. We need to adjust and make student-centered decisions and make sure that we're fulfilling their academic success. What can we do to further enhance their academic future?
When you think about even assessments, the practice of assessment in the days of old, students will be provided with all this information after they were provided with all that information. Here was a test. In today's world, we've had to make the shift to where there needs to be more of an ongoing progress monitoring throughout. You have a healthy mix of formative assessments, an assessment for learning approach versus an assessment of learning. Just always assessing, well, what did they learn? But we want to assess for learning.
Right.
And the thing about it, with the types of sessions that we set up, and then the availability of technology, it helps educational leaders with that approach. It helps them to manage all the data that goes into dealing with the formative assessments and the summative assessments and that assessment for learning, to really monitor student progress along the way. So I think that's another added benefit of the tech-based opportunities that we provide for staff.
Exactly. I think so too. And, it's a lot of what education is, collaboration. Collaboration is really big among, and you really want your students to collaborate. And, there is a time, like you said, for formal assessment where, this is how we're going to test, but it's about problem solving. We're teaching students today for jobs that aren't even available. We're teaching students, we need to teach not test taking strategies, but problem solving skills, collaboration, and work on critical thinking skills. If we can teach these skills, then they can do the jobs that become available.
Right.
So go ahead.
Well, and another thing you think of too, and not to get off on a completely different subject, we're talking about teacher evaluation systems such as a PDOS, but how they'll have that use of technology.
That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Use of technology used to, people would be willing to give out an exceeds for use of technology if they did a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Well, now the level of expectation really across the globe now in these types of situations is that the use of technology is so much more than that now.
Right.
And it goes beyond the teacher just creating a product and putting it on display for the students. But in many cases, the students help create, they help design, they help to deliver the content.
Right.
They're a part of the process too, and I think that's another example of the change that has taken place.
And just while we're having this conversation, it just kind of came to me. Maybe that would be a menu session that one of our administrators could talk about, like whenever we're observing and evaluating, like this would be something that we give a exceeds expectation. This is something proficient, and we don't expect exceed every day, and if administrators, they're constantly doing walkthroughs, they're constantly looking. So, but I think that would be a really good session, like what would that look like? How would because some of our teachers don't know still, they go through all this, but some of them still feel like, well, I'm showing them PowerPoint. That's pretty good. I touched the smart board, or the smart board was on, and so just as we're talking, we might have come up with a new session.
So, when you think about intrinsic motivation for teachers in any situation, one of the things you have to have are clearly defined expectations. There cannot be just this randomness and them always having to guess. Well, I wonder what they're looking for, what the expectations are, and it's important with veteran teachers. It's important with first-year teachers as well. They need those clearly defined expectations, and really you have to have modeling from your instructional leaders on your campuses to model those expectations so that they are clear. So.
Right, and you mentioned modeling, and as instructional techs, that's why we've looked at last year we did a lot of we were going Google Apps for Education, so we had to switch email systems, and we switched our high school our forms folder is now in the cloud on all the campuses, and it's not on the servers anymore, and modeling is really important. How can we expect for our teachers if our professional development isn't even set up that way? So we're really looking at last year we were kind of forced. There's always that opportunity, and there's always time to say step 1, click here, step 2, click here, and there's always a time for step instruction, but there's also a time where we can do a better job of modeling what it looks like as well. And by doing the flipped classroom, by doing, the lessons of Google Classroom where this is how, for online classroom use and screencasting to get our teachers to that level, using some of the old school tools, utilizing your one student computer. One of the sessions is Google Hangouts and Skyping. And, that's a great way to connect with people outside of our area. Our students may never leave Southeast Texas, and if they get to speak with someone
in China,
another class. Yeah, I was actually lining up. Instead of China, Texas, China. There are sometimes I was actually talking to Miss Menendez about connecting with a school in Brazil, but they were looking for someone to Google Hangout with, and they call it mystery Skyping, and so we need to model and we need to bring up some of these, and it just as instructional techs, we need to make sure that our trainings are designed that way so that teachers will think, I could probably do something like that. Hey, I could.
Definitely.
So,
well, and I want to commend you guys that y'all taking this thing a step further instead of just settling for the staff development. Y'all have created these lunch and learns, and y'all are going around to the campuses and visiting with teachers in entire grade levels, and you're helping them with various technology related learning opportunities, and so that's another added benefit. Additionally, another thing when you think about this, the library setup on campuses, the world has changed. You used to have a librarian, and now in most cases, you have a media specialist. And then we've gone obviously with the instructional technologist, and one for every campus, and people that can move throughout the district as well. So those things are all positive benefits and helping us move into
21st century.
Yeah, definitely the right direction, as far as supporting 21st century learner needs. I think another thing that we haven't really got to yet was the flexibility that is built into the staff development schedule, and particularly the menu session day, because, and it's important to not rush teachers or those in attendance at the sessions, rush them through a session just to hurry up and get it over with and then send them on their way. In some cases, we've doubled the time, or we've added additional, hours into the session, or a certain block of time to allow for, an appropriate pace to be maintained, just depending on what the session is. Most cases, a hands-on math lesson, maybe it's supported by technology. It's maybe kind of hard to get that in 45 minutes, so we'll give them the hour and a half.
Right. And along with the modeling and staying connected, maybe extending sessions. We've also talked about implementing today's meet, which is basically a virtual room where everybody joins, and throughout the day, we would give a shout out like, "Hey, great job, Dr. Osborne. Make sure to stop by his session." Or if a session's extended, then everybody's a part of today's meet. They're a part of that session, that virtual session for the day. So they could say, hey, like last year, our Pinterest was extended. Pinterest session extended, time, will be. So I think that, it'll be a good way for us to stay connected throughout the day. You could also take that and you can export it, and we could share it with everybody so that we could share resources. Like, hey, resources for and I just type them in, they can be found here. And we could actually share that with everyone so that, because a lot of times I can't find my paper from that day, or I can't. So I think, and that's a great modeling. They call it, that's like a back channel, and some of the professional development, some of the trainings that we've gone to. And if people have questions, like, maybe the presenter didn't show up, or if they have questions, hey, where can I find this resource? Then anybody can help. So if we all belong to this one room, that would just be another way to make it 21st century learning and putting that out there, but also stay connected throughout the day.
We also have, the technology to conduct video training sessions, or video these staff development sessions, and upload those to where teachers can access those later on. And so anyway, that's another added benefit of the technology that we have available for the sessions is to be able to just get a recording of that, and then teachers can access that again, or they may want to review that session later on.
Exactly. So I think that would be, just another added resource, and just because we do get busy at the we show teachers a lot of information, and it's just they need something to be able to go back to later, and whenever it calms down a little bit, and so
you try to establish and maintain a professional learning community, and I think the way that we collaborate together with various departments, with various campuses, personnel involved, we support that professional learning community in a very diverse manner that is really a situation that values input from everyone, and that's what helps shape and guide our staff development, not only back to school in August, but throughout the course of the year. And we're not wasting teachers' time with irrelevant staff development. I mean, we are really trying to listen what they need, what they want, and putting some quality products together.
Just to kind of let you know, some teachers have already contacted me, so I've had communication. The Skyward Grading, which I had a Wired Wednesday today about Skyward Grading, we visited a school who used that, and it's actually something that I was able to enable, and they can create online assessments. It automatically feeds it to Meredith Cart. She's used that, so she wants to teach that. Ms. Stevenson, she wants to teach Flubaroo, which is a script that you run in Google Forms, and it auto grades, and it sends emails out to the students so that they know what grade and that they made. Also, Tamara Basie was going to teach Google Forms, so we'll put a little note like maybe you want to attend Google Forms before you do Flubaroo, but they don't have to be simultaneously or done in that sequential order. QR codes. I know Amanda's Miss Jenkins is presenting at TEPSA about QR codes, so we felt like we kind of reached. I think that she would want to.
Yeah, she's got to bring that session back and actually host that during our menu session day as well. So,
some other teachers who have reached out to me as far as teaching, Lydia McDonald, she was going to do some talk about donors' choice or donors' choice.
Veteran teacher, but fairly new to the district. That's exciting and encouraging that we're getting more and more input from people. And I think we're adding more and more teachers every year, and you're starting to see some real diversity coming from different content areas, different backgrounds.
Because, Allison has taught a session before, but Meredith's never taught a session before. Allison is, like you said, veteran teacher of 29 years, and Meredith is 10. And Lydia McDonald, new to the district, but she'll be coming to teach. And then Tamara Basie, she hasn't taught a session before, although, she teaches keyboarding at our middle school. She still has never, but she's actually begun to use it, and she's worked with the instructional technologist there. So I think that'll be a good added point.
One of the things sometimes adults will tell you, teachers, they don't mind getting up in front of their students, but they don't always like getting up in front of their peers. And, and I think, providing this opportunity, and you're starting to see more and more involvement, and it's kind of like once folks get involved, then they take a chance on it, they get a little more comfortable with it, and then that's why we're getting so many great teachers involved in this process at this point. They're over their stage fright as far as that goes, and they're willing to get up in front of their peers.
Well, someone who actually has talked to me about doing a menu session too, and we kind of touched on this last year, but it was we did a Windows shift from XP to Windows 7, and so we were busy. But Ikra Masuda is my technology aide. She's a senior in high school, and she actually came to me and she's like, "How do I become an instructional technologist, Ms. Gilmore?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Aw,
it's like a great compliment."
What a great compliment! But she wants to teach a session. And I talked to you about students teaching last year because I've been to other trainings where the students have taught, and if it's the right one, I think that it will definitely be perceived well. I think that, and all the high school teachers love Ikra. Whenever you talk to her about that and other.
Well, one thing about that too is like our sessions. Some are geared specifically for a grade level of campus. But in a lot of cases, it's a pretty diverse group of teachers. And you might have elementary, you might have secondary, it could be high school, it could be middle school, throw in some intermediate. To throw in a strategy like that, not only is it a great opportunity for the student, it's a great opportunity for the other teachers at different grade levels to see things from the perspective of a student that is not a student on their campus. And a different age, and just kind of see how things have changed, or where things need to go. And it's today's world, and we mentioned assessment. It's not about really assessing where students have been, but it's seeing where they're at and figuring out what we need to do to get them to the higher levels of achievement. We're trying to make tremendous strides in increasing student progress on overall levels of student achievement. We're working to close achievement gaps, throughout the district and the country, for that matter. But we're also focused on post-secondary readiness, college and career readiness. And these types of sessions that you mentioned and that y'all are putting together are going to support all of those things: improving student progress, achievement, closing achievement gaps, and most importantly, promoting higher levels of post-secondary college and career readiness. So, that's one of the added benefits to setting up the professional development that's so heavily based on technology. That's one of the things I'm most excited about.
Well, I really appreciate you. Whenever you came, you really reached out to us, and we really enjoyed working with you to.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. We couldn't make it work without you guys. And
well, I appreciate that.
Y'all come up with some really great ideas, and y'all got great energy that you bring to the mix, and that's why I enjoy working with you guys and allowing y'all to be such a big part of our staff development and what we're doing. With the experience I have, I could easily design the entire staff development for everybody, and I think everybody'd be fairly happy. I know kind of what teachers want and expect, but I like the all-inclusive approach. I like the input and the collaboration, and that's how the world of education needs to function now. It needs to be a world of collaboration, collegiality, colleagues supporting each other, and then maximizing all available resources, and that's what it's about. And like you mentioned earlier, our resources are limited, but when we combine, when we join forces, and we all bring a certain skill set to the table, it doesn't cost a lot of money to put this together. And so, I think that's one of the reasons why this one will be more successful than ever. So, before.
I think that we have a good framework, and we have some of our sessions already laid out. Of course, we'll continue to work out the details and the scheduling of the labs, and the Chromebooks that we have, that will only extend. We'll be able to take some of those and extend, not being limited to computer labs, but then we can make classrooms set up maybe of 20 or 25. Normally about 20 people come to a session, so that would extend the number of teachers that would have access to a device. So
you bring up a good point. Think about it. You mentioned the word classrooms. The adults are the students in the classrooms and they're actively engaged and participating. But once again, we're not just setting everyone down in an auditorium, a large auditorium somewhere, or a gym, and we're just telling them a bunch of information. It's a smaller, class size ratio that we're dealing with, and I think that's what gives it that personalized, individualized approach, and that's a real positive way to go.
Well, I'm really excited to move forward. We have a really great framework, and I'm going to continue to hear from the people on other campuses. Like last year, I got some people from the intermediate camp, just because I know a lot of people, so I can extend out and find out who else would be interested in presenting, and I'll keep working on that, and we'll make sure that it's ready to go.
Well, I want to thank you and the technology department, and really all of our teachers across the district for helping us to provide quality professional development, and we look forward to expanding it in the future and really showcasing what our teachers can do. That's one of the greatest things, and looking forward to it. So hopefully we'll have more and more involved. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for meeting.